The 60-gram shaft is the most dangerous weapon in a senior golfer's bag, and most men never even know they're holding it. When Tom Wishon tested hundreds of older players at his lab in Colorado, he found that a driver shaft weighing 60 grams or less added an average of 9 yards of carry distance for anyone with a swing speed under 85 miles per hour. The logic is brutally simple. A lighter shaft lets the club head lag longer through the downswing, storing more energy, then whipping it forward at impact, like a trebuchet releasing its load. Most stock shafts shipped with modern drivers weigh 70 to 80 grams, designed for a 30-year-old teaching pro who swings 100 miles per hour. You are that age in your mind, but your body has been honest with you for a decade. Your body already knows what the shaft weight confession says. Take the lighter tool. Let the physics work instead of your fading fast-twitch fibers. The problem is that the golf industry has trained you to associate heavy with powerful, dense with quality, metal with authority. You pick up a 60-gram shaft and it feels fragile in your hands, almost toy-like, as if the manufacturer cheaped out on materials. Nothing could be further from the truth. Graphite shaft technology has advanced to the point where modern 55-gram shafts transmit more energy than a 75-gram steel shaft from 2005, and they do it with less strain on your rotator cuff and lower back. A 2015 study from the Titleist Performance Institute showed that senior golfers, using a shaft 5 grams lighter than their usual model, increased club head speed by an average of 1.8 miles per hour without changing their swing mechanics at all. That is not training. That is equipment engineering working in your favor. The lighter shaft is not a concession to age. It is a smarter application of leverage on a lever that has gotten shorter over time. That data from TPI is not a theory. It is a measurement taken from real golfers just like you. If you want to keep seeing the numbers the industry does not want you to see, subscribe to this channel. And in the comments, write the word light if you have ever picked up a 55-gram shaft and wondered if it was too fragile. It is not. It is the edge you have been missing. Now consider the kick point, which is the technical term for where the shaft flexes most during the downswing. A low kick point means the shaft bends closer to the club head, and for a senior swing, that is gold. When the kick point sits low, the club head releases earlier and stays square through the impact zone longer, which produces a higher launch angle with less spin. The higher launch is exactly what a slower swing speed needs to keep the ball in the air for the full carry distance. Golf Digest's equipment testing in 2023 confirmed that senior testers using a low kick point shaft gained an average of 4 miles per hour in ball speed compared to a mid-kick or high-kick shaft with the exact same head. The low kick point is the hidden variable that explains why your friend Tom can hit his driver 240 yards while you struggle to reach 210, even though you both swing the same club head. The third profile is the counterbalanced shaft, which adds weight to the butt end of the club under the grip, rather than distributing it evenly through the shaft. Counterbalancing changes the swing weight dramatically, making the club feel lighter in the head and heavier in the hands, which encourages a smoother tempo. For senior golfers who have lost some wrist hinge or suffer from arthritis in the hands and wrists, counterbalancing reduces the urge to cast the club early, which is the single most common distance killer in the over 60 demographic. A counterbalanced shaft does not add swing speed by itself, but it prevents the swing speed you already have from leaking out through a premature release. Think of it as a governor that keeps your mechanics disciplined, so the 200 yards you have left does not bleed down to 180. The fourth profile is the ultra-light iron shaft, and this is where most senior golfers make their biggest mistake. They upgrade their driver shaft, but leave their irons with standard steel shafts weighing 120 grams, which is more than double the weight of a fairway wood shaft. Your irons account for more than half your total swings in a round, and each one of those swings demands energy. When you fatigue in the back nine, which every senior golfer does, your iron swing speed drops, your launch angle plummets, and you start hitting low, weak shots that roll out to 130 yards instead of carrying 150. The fix is a graphite iron shaft in the 70 to 80 gram range, matched to the same flex profile as your driver. The iron shaft is the piece most senior golfers ignore, and that ignorance is costing them 10 to 15 yards per iron by the 14th hole. Subscribe if you want to learn which other clubs in your bag are hiding similar upgrades. Now, comment with the phrase ultra light iron if you have never considered swapping your steel shafts, because that one change might save your back nine. If you have ever felt that quiet pinch in your chest when you realize the hope wore off after the first swing, you already know what I mean. That hope does not belong in the pro shop window. It belongs in the data beneath your hands. Tell me in the comments which of these profiles you have never tried, because I already know which one will change your game the most. The fifth and final profile is the Senior Flex shaft. And I am not talking about the generic Senior Flex stamped on a rack at the big box store. The real Senior Flex is a custom measurement based on your actual swing speed, not your age or your birth year. Most off-the-rack Senior Flex shafts are calibrated for a swing speed of 75 to 85 miles per hour, but the average male golfer over 65 swings between 65 and 75. That means the shaft flex designed for you is actually one full flex category, softer than what the label says. A shaft that is too stiff for your swing speed will never load properly, and if it never loads, it never releases. You lose distance before you even begin the downswing. The proper Senior Flex, measured by a launch monitor, will feel almost floppy in your hands the first time you waggle it. Trust that feeling. It means the shaft is finally soft enough to store the energy your body can produce and deliver it at impact. That floppy feeling is the exact sensation of your shaft finally matching your swing speed. If you have been thinking about a fitting, this is the sign you needed. Subscribe so you know exactly what to ask the fitter next time. In the comments, type Senior Flex if you have ever been handed a stock senior shaft and felt it still too stiff. You are not alone. Here is the truth that ties all of this together. The golf industry has spent decades convincing you that distance lives inside the driver head, in the titanium face, in the adjustable weights, in the expensive new release every spring. But for a senior golfer, the driver head is the least important variable in the distance equation. The shaft is the engine. The head is only the windshield. You can swap heads every year and gain 2 yards. You can swap to the right shaft profile and gain 15 to 20 yards without changing your swing a single degree. The 2020 MyGolf Spy testing database, which measured over 3,000 driver shaft combinations, found that seniors gained more distance from a shaft change than from any head change, by a factor of 4 to 1. Remember the low kick point and the counterbalance design and the ultralight iron shaft. If you have ever stood over a tee shot and hoped the ball would somehow fly further than last week, that hope is real, but it needs a different tool to deliver. You do not need a new driver. You need a shaft that matches the engine you still have. The numbers are not guessing. They have been tested on actual 70-year-old golfers swinging 68 miles per hour, and the data is in. Drop your answer below. Which of these 5 profiles did you already know about but never tried? Tell me in the comments, because the next round does not start until you make that one change. You have heard 5 proven profiles that can add real yards without a single lesson. Now, the only question is which one you act on first. If this resonates with you, there's a lot more where this came from. Link in the description. In the comments, type. If this resonates with you, there's a lot more where this came from. Link in the description if you are ready to test one of these profiles on a launch monitor. And subscribe to keep uncovering the hidden variables that determine your score more than any new driver ever could. The money you spent on your last driver upgrade paid for a face and a cavity and a brand name stamped into titanium. The money you will spend on the right shaft will pay for actual yards, actual carry, actual rounds, where you walk off the 18th green, not wondering what happened, but knowing exactly what happened. The difference between 180 yards and 215 yards is not a new driver. It is not a lesson. It is not another dozen balls on the range chasing a feel that drifts away by the third swing. The difference is a 60-gram shaft with a low kick point and a counterbalanced grip that lets your body do what your body can still do if the tool stops fighting you. Your swing speed at 68 miles per hour is not a limitation. It is a constant. And the golf industry has designed every stock shaft to work against that constant, loading too late, releasing too early, robbing you of the one thing that makes the game worth playing. The feeling of a pure strike that sends the ball exactly where you aimed it. You do not need to swing faster. You need a shaft that finally understands the speed you have. The 5 profiles are the map. The launch monitor is the guide. The next time you walk into a fitting bay, forget the head, forget the brand, forget the price tag, and ask the fitter one question. Show me the lightest, softest, lowest kick shaft in the room. Then watch what happens. That is the moment the game changes for you. Not when the club head arrives in the mail, not when you unwrap the plastic, but when you hit the first ball and the flight is higher. The descent is steeper, and the ball stops 10 yards past your usual landing spot. That is the moment you realize the industry has been selling you the wrong story for 20 years, and you finally found the right page. And when you walk off that green with the ball in your hand, instead of searching for it in the rough, you are not just a golfer with a better score. You are a golfer who finally understands the machine you are swinging. The shaft is not a component. It is the contract between your body and the ball. And for 20 years, that contract was written in a language you were never meant to read. Now you know the 5 words that rewrite it. Light, soft, low, counterbalanced, and yours. Go find them.